G'day viewers, this is Troy from Troy's Visual Arts channel. Well, I've finished developing my very first 120 medium type film in black and white in Caffenol C, following as best as possible the amount of vitamin C, washing soda and develop timing and temperatures, etc, etc. And the results certainly paid off, because right here I've got nice, beautiful, clear as a bell black and white negatives on the 120 type film. I know it's a bit difficult to see because the camera's sort of compensating towards the outside light, but I might go the other side now and show you. But have a look at that. Beautiful, crisp looking black and white pictures. Yeah, that's the one and only exposure that didn't turn out because somehow the camera's shutter got stuck on open, but apart from that, the rest turned out beautifully. Yeah, I took all these snaps up in Sydney and particularly around Darling Harbour, and on the harbour cruise that I went on last night. Some of the photos were taken at Darling Harbour, some of them were taken from the boat of various places, particularly the inner part of the harbour. That's my very first exposure of Centrepoint Tower. So yeah, I've taken some nice scenic shots that I thought were worthy of a photo, and most of them came up beautifully, and I'm very happy. These ones were taken as around sunset, so hence the pictures will be darker. The last one's one of myself. Got one of the people on the boat to snap the photo for me. It's me holding a can of VB, enjoying myself on the cruise. So yeah, pretty much most of the exposures came out beautifully. Now, all taken on this vintage 1930s, 1940s era DHEL French 120 format bellows camera. So it goes to prove that this camera works very, very nicely, and I'm very pleased. It's amazing how these old cameras last the distance. I mean, all it is pretty much, you just have to have the iris operational, the shutter operational, and the film roller operational pretty much, and you're all set to go. Anyway, oh yeah, here's the paper backing of the 120 type film. As seen, you've got the exposure numbers in various spots for various different type of 120 format cameras, because the 120 type film comes in different forms. Like you've got the wide area type, which gives you less exposures, but more picture area and hence greater picture definition. And you've got the type that I use that go with this camera, which is the kind of smaller area type, more the portrait type, which will give you pictures of 6 centimeters by about 4.5 centimeters. So you got that type, and you've got a few other types as well. So they pretty much gauged it pretty well for various different medium format 120 type cameras. Anyhow, yeah, I am absolutely over the moon that this camera works nicely, because now I'm going to start doing something really cool. I'm going to be using vintage early 1950s expired Kodak films of the 120 format. One's a Verichrome from that's expired around 1951, and the other one's a Super XX that expired around 1953. I'll just pause the video and come back and bring them out and show you. So give me a moment. Okay, here's my vintage unexposed films from that expired in the early 1950s. Here we have a Kodak Verichrome, which is going to be used by 16th of January 1951. So this film probably was manufactured around 1949, perhaps late 1948. So I think films are made 2 years prior to the expiry date. Anyway, that film is, I'd say, late 1940s, 1948, 1949. And here we have Kodak Super XX, which is a high speed type film, and it says the expiry date was 15th of March. Get the stupid bloody camera to focus in. 15th of March 1953. So this film probably was made sometime around 1951. And yeah, see if I can dig out my Shanghai film somehow. See what its expiry date is. Yeah, here we are. Its expiry date is May 2015. So yeah, they manufacture the films about 2 years before their expiry date, which is pretty much common with films. So yep, this film I purchased over eBay recently, and this year's 2013, as you know. So yep, 2 years before its expiry date. So that one's made 1949, that one 1951. Anyway, I'm going to use them films during this week and do some photography around here, particularly around the steelworks, because that's something that's worthwhile filming on a really old film of that vintage. I love filming period stuff on period film. It's like puts the photo and the subject in its era, and with an original camera to boot. I totally get a buzz out of doing that. But anyhow, yeah, there's not really much more to say, but I'm totally over the moon with the success of my very first 120 type format film, and knowing that this nice old camera works very nicely. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is Troy from Troy's Digital Arts channel, signing out.